take a moment and listen carefully, because for many of you watching right now, this news may feel frightening, confusing, or deeply personal. If you have a pending immigration application, a family member waiting overseas, or plans to apply for a U.S. visa or green card, you may have seen alarming messages saying that the Department of Homeland Security has paused immigration applications for an additional 20 countries. For some people, this feels like the ground has suddenly shifted beneath their feet. Questions start racing through your mind. Is my case stopped? Am I still safe? Does this mean denial? Is this permanent? In this video, I want to slow everything down. Explain what this pause really means, who it affects, who it does not affect, and what practical steps you can take right now to protect yourself and your family. This is Legal Focus USA, and my role is to help you understand U.S. immigration news clearly, calmly, and truthfully, without panic and without rumors. First, let's talk about what people mean when they say DHS has paused immigration applications. A pause is not the same as a ban. A pause is not the same as a denial. A pause does not automatically cancel your application. In immigration law, a pause usually means temporary suspension of processing for certain types of applications, certain categories, or certain applicants, while the government reviews procedures, security checks, diplomatic conditions, or administrative capacity. Right now, DHS is reportedly expanding temporary processing pauses that affect applicants from approximately 20 additional countries. This does not mean all immigration from those countries has stopped. It does not mean everyone from those countries is blocked. And it does not mean your case is automatically rejected. What it does mean is that certain applications may not move forward for a period of time. I want to explain this step by step in simple terms. The Department of Homeland Security oversees agencies like USCIS, ICE, and CBP. USCIS handles immigration benefits such as asylum, work permits, green cards, TPS, and humanitarian programs. When DHS announces a pause, it usually applies to specific programs or pathways, not the entire immigration system. For example, DHS may pause new approvals under a specific parole program, humanitarian pathway, or refugee-related processing for applicants from certain countries while they review fraud risks, security screening, or capacity issues. During this pause, applications may still be accepted, but they are not decided, or they may stop accepting new applications temporarily while pending cases are reviewed. Now, let me share a real-world example to help this make sense. Ahmed is living in the United States and applied for a humanitarian parole program for his sister overseas. He hears online that applications from her country are paused. Ahmed panics and thinks his case is denied. In reality, his application is still in the system. It is not denied. It is simply not being decided until the pause is lifted or further guidance is issued. That waiting period is painful, but it is very different from rejection. Another example is Sophia, who applied for asylum and comes from one of the countries affected by the pause. Her asylum case continues because asylum applications inside the U.S. are governed by law and court procedures. The pause does not stop asylum filings or hearings already in progress. This is why it is so important not to assume that all immigration stops when you hear the word pause. Now let's talk about why DHS does this. DHS may pause processing for several reasons. Sometimes it is due to increased fraud detected in certain programs. Sometimes it is due to security screening concerns. Sometimes it is because resources are overwhelmed and the agency needs time to review policies. Sometimes it is linked to diplomatic or humanitarian situations in specific regions. These pauses are often temporary, even if they last months. Now, I want to address the fear many people have right now. If you are from one of the affected countries, this news can feel personal, unfair, and isolating. You may feel like you are being singled out. I want you to know that pauses are policy tools, not judgments about individuals. Immigration officers still review cases based on evidence, eligibility, and law. Your nationality alone does not decide your worth or your future. Let's talk about which types of applications are most commonly affected by pauses like this. Humanitarian parole programs are often affected first. These programs are discretionary, meaning DHS can start or stop them more easily. Certain refugee processing pipelines may also slow down. Some family-based petitions involving overseas processing can be delayed at the consular stage, even if USCIS already approved the petition. However, many applications continue as normal. Adjustment of status inside the U.S. often continues. Naturalization continues. Removal defense cases in immigration court continue. Employment-based green card processing often continues. Work permit renewals often continue. This is why it is dangerous to assume your case is frozen without checking. Let me share the story of Lena from California. Lena is originally from one of the affected countries. She applied for a marriage-based green card inside the U.S. When she heard about the pause, she thought everything stopped. She almost canceled her biometrics appointment. That would have been a serious mistake. Her case continued because her category was not part of the pause. Fear almost cost her months of delay. Now let's talk about what happens to applications during a pause. In many cases, applications are held in pending status. That means USCIS does not issue approval or denial. They wait. Background checks may still continue quietly. Requests for evidence may still be issued. Biometrics may still be collected. When the pause is lifted, cases may move quickly because much of the work was already done. In other cases, DHS may stop accepting new filings under a specific program. This affects people who plan to apply but had not submitted yet. Timing becomes critical in those situations. This is why staying informed matters so much. Now I want to talk about misinformation because it spreads fast and causes real harm. Social media posts often say, DHS stops all immigration or 20 countries banned. These statements are almost always false or exaggerated. Immigration law is complex, pauses are targeted, and policies change. I've seen people withdraw applications unnecessarily. I've seen families separate themselves based on rumors. I've seen people give up on legal pathways that were still open. Please don't let that be you. Let me explain what you should do right now calmly and carefully. First, identify what type of application you have. Is it asylum, family-based, employment-based, parole, refugee, TPS, or something else? Second, determine where your case is. Is it with USCIS, the National Visa Center, a U.S. embassy, or immigration court? Third, verify whether your specific program is included in the pause. This requires reliable information, not social media comments. Fourth, continue attending appointments, responding to notices, and following instructions unless you receive official written notice saying otherwise. Fifth, keep copies of everything. Documentation protects you during uncertainty. Now I want to address immigrants watching from outside the United States. If you are waiting overseas, pauses can feel even more powerless because you are not inside the system physically. Processing delays are frustrating, but they do not erase your case. Many overseas applicants eventually move forward once pauses are lifted. Let me tell you about Samuel from Ghana. His family-based petition was approved, but consular processing slowed due to a temporary pause. He waited longer than expected. Eventually, processing resumed, and he received his visa. The wait was painful, but the case was not lost. Patience does not mean silence. You can still track your case, submit required documents, and stay prepared. Now let's talk about legal rights, because this is important. A pause does not remove your right to apply if the law allows it. A pause does not cancel existing approvals unless DHS specifically announces revocation, which is rare and legally complex. A pause does not mean deportation for people who already have lawful status. If you are inside the U.S. and maintaining status, continue doing so. If you are out of status, seek legal guidance before making decisions. This is also a good time to address mental and emotional stress. Immigration uncertainty affects sleep, health, and family relationships. If you feel anxious, you are not weak. You are human. The immigration system is stressful by design, but clarity reduces fear. Here is what clarity looks like. Know your category. Know your stage. Know what is paused and what is not. Know that pauses are often temporary. Know that preparation still matters. Now let's talk about timelines, because many people ask, how long will this last? There is no fixed answer. Some pauses last weeks, some last months. Occasionally, policies change again. Courts can also intervene. Elections can influence priorities. This uncertainty is frustrating, but it is part of immigration reality. What you can control is your readiness. If your case moves suddenly, you want to be prepared. If new instructions are issued, you want to respond quickly. If a pause lifts, cases often move faster than expected. Let me share one more story. Nora from Michigan applied for a humanitarian program for her parents. Processing paused. She used that time to gather extra documents, translations, and affidavits. When processing resumed, her case moved smoothly. Preparation turned waiting time into productive time. That is a powerful lesson. Now, I want to be very honest with you. Some people will be affected more than others. Some applications will face longer delays. That is real. But fear-based decisions often make things worse. If you stop checking your mail, miss deadlines, or abandon your application, that creates real problems. Stay engaged, stay informed, stay calm. As we move forward, Legal Focus USA will continue to monitor DHS announcements, USCIS updates, and official guidance. When policies change, we explain what it actually means, not what it sounds like. If this video helped you feel more grounded and informed, I invite you to subscribe to Legal Focus USA. We share clear immigration updates, legal explanations, and practical guidance so you don't have to face this system alone. Turn on notifications so you don't miss important developments. Thank you for trusting us with your time and your story. I'll see you in the next update.